Motorsports Great Finishes. Here they come. One more series of turns. Sprague into the abutment. Here comes Hornaday. The series point leader takes the checkered flag in New Hampshire. Holy cow. It's the Pennzoil VIP Discount Auto Center 200 next. TNN Motorsports has come to New Hampshire International Speedway to join with NASCAR in the celebration of its 50th anniversary. Today, the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series going 200 laps in the Pennzoil VIP Discount Auto Center 200 in a magnificent afternoon in the granite state of New Hampshire. Let's talk rivalries. Thursday night, these same trucks battled at Indianapolis Raceway Park. Jack Sprague, Ron Hornaday. Hornaday's in the wall. Sprague goes on to victory lane. It's a scene we have seen time and time again between those two drivers. While Sprague was getting booed by some in victory lane, others were wondering what was going to happen next. Well, next is today, and the emotions of Thursday night have carried over into the tough talking of today.
Well, that was racing, you know. I don't know if you can call it a racing accident, but, you know, when Jack and I run that close together, something's going to happen.
I was as low as I could go on the racetrack. I was clearly up beside him. Whether he didn't know I was there or not, I don't know. And, you know, he's upset about it, but he needs to watch the tape because I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't wreck him. He wrecked himself.
If he would have said he slipped up and got in too hard, it'd be a different story, but he didn't. He's trying to say I came down on him, so he needs to just go to his own pits and stay there. And, you know, if he wants to watch the tape, he can go ahead. And I don't go by tapes. I'm a driver. I've been driving for too long. I know what happened. If he don't know what happened in the back of his head, maybe he should go back to go-karts.
Well, I'll tell you where I come from in Brooklyn, New York. Them's fighting words, as we used to say. Hi, everybody. I'm Eli Gold, and yes, rivalry. That has been the key word in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series this year. And, of course, it's been a byword in all of NASCAR, basically, in its 50 years of existence. Remember back to the Richard Petty, Bobby Allison rivalry? Or how about that one between Cale Yarborough and a guy named Buddy Baker? You've been front and center in one of these rivalries.
It's all about winning. That's what it's all about. The guy that you race with the most on a given weekend is the guy that you usually have a confrontation with. You know, a lot of other people are just behind them. They're applauding this. They're loving it.
And one of those guys who is loving it is Joe Ruttman. Take a look at the point standings. If something happens between Sprague and Hornaday, Joe Ruttman is right there in third spot, ready to jump on any opportunity. And Larry McReynolds, I guess that's where a crew chief comes into play. You have to kind of keep your driver focused regardless of what the series.
Well, you really do, Eli. And I talked to Joe this morning. He said what got him behind was mingling with some chassis stuff they shouldn't have been fooling with early in the year. They haven't changed their strategy, but they know at the early part of the year they used up all their mulligans, and they've just got to be there at the end of the race. From a crew chief and a team standpoint, that's what you've got to do. Keep your driver focused and make sure that truck's running at the end of every race for the rest of the season.
Although it's been Hornaday and Sprague getting the headlines, Matt Yoakum, I think in the character department, Joe Ruttman might have them all beat. What do you think?
Well, Eli, he has quickly become the benefactor of the Jack and Ron show. He enters today's race third in points. He's third on the grid, but last night in happy hour, he was first. Joe, is that going to be a good omen for you today?
Yeah, I hope so. I think all the rest of the guys should take that to heart because we've really got the Exide battery charged up, and no, it's going to be a tough race, and we're just looking forward to having some fun, and we're going to give the boys heck if we can.
Well, good luck today. He almost won here 2 years ago. He came up 2 corners short after a bump with Jack Sprague. Ron Hornaday was the winner. But at the front of the grid today is my good friend Glenn Jarrett with the pole sitter.
Hey, thanks a lot, Matt. You know, while the spotlight might belong to the Hatfield and McCoy type feuders there, the pole belongs to this man, Mike Wallace. He won his first ever NASCAR Touring Series pole, hoping to turn it into his first ever NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series victory. What about it, Mike?
Glenn, I think we got a good shot at it today. The Pure Later Pure 1 truck's running great. You know, all the guys from Schrader Racing did a wonderful job. We broke the track record here. You know, if you're going to set on a pole, you might as well get a record doing it. We'd like to set it in a record pace today. And I'd like to take a win home. Carla and the kids are home watching, and I told them we'd try to win one again, so hopefully it can happen today.
Best of luck to you, Mike. His truck owner, Ken Schrader, is probably watching too. Good run at Indy yesterday. He told these guys, forget about feuding, forget about points, win races, Eli.
That is the storyline right here, and you can't win a race until they crank the engines. So why don't we go trackside right now? Mr. Butch Lindbergh is our Grand Marshal here today, the Director of Marketing for VIP Discount Auto Parts Stores. He has the command to fire the engines.
Drivers, start your engines!
And with that, we are set to go racing. The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series is live on a beautiful day in New Hampshire. We're so happy you're with us on TNN Motorsports. The starting lineup next.
Go, 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 go! 30 laps to go. Go hard, man. They're going to wall and turn full behind. No caution yet. Keep digging, keep digging, keep digging.
Race brought to you by the more than 2,500 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. There you see the numbers, just over 200 miles in distance on a racetrack that measures 1.058 miles around. Why don't we take a look at the starting lineup for today's event? Mike Wallace, the 12th driver to win a NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series pole here in 1998. The point leader, Jack Sprague. Third place in points, Ruttman. Second place in points, Ron Hornaday. Randy Renfro was to have started back in the 5th spot. He's going to start from the rear. We'll talk more in a moment. Jay Sauter, who won here a year ago. There you see some of the other young names. Lonnie Rush, who starts in row number 6. Buddy had a super run at Indianapolis on Thursday night.
He certainly did. Lonnie looked like he might even have a win there near the end due to great pit stops. That's a new strategy you're going to see a lot of today. These guys love it.
Rick McRae from the NASCAR Winston West Series and other touring series over the years. Nathan Butke is back, and yes, that is Butch Miller, who is doing double duty here today. He'll be in the NASCAR Busch North Series race. We saw Mike Iwanitzko. He's also in a truck. And good to see Bob Keselowski back, Larry, after not racing since Milwaukee with that injury.
Oh, I'm sure, you know, he's going to get back in the swing of things. And, you know, probably the best medicine in the world is be back in a truck here racing at Loudon.
And there you see the entire 36 truck starting field. Mike Bliss will be carrying us around the 1 mile New Hampshire International Speedway, starting as you see in 17th spot. We've got Brian Reffner carrying us around the racetrack. Brian's had some good runs here over the years. Tony Roper had a spectacular run on Thursday evening. He came home second behind Jack Sprague. Butch Miller gives us a free ride here today. So does that Mopar Dodge truck of Bob Keselowski. And likewise, Boris Said. All of those drivers giving us a ride around New Hampshire International Speedway here today. There's Boris going in 31st spot. We mentioned during the starting lineup that Randy Renfro was to have been starting in 5th spot. There he is, however, alongside Jeff Spraker, shotgun on the field. They found in a post-qualifying inspection session yesterday that Renfro had some non-approved engine parts aboard his truck. So as a result, Renfro, who now drives for team owner Dominic Dobson, starts shotgun on the field. And before we go any farther and get the green flag in a moment, Larry McReynolds, congratulations, by the way, on Mike Skinner's superb run in yesterday's Brickyard 400.
Appreciate it. Great day for Richard Childress Racing altogether. You know, Mike coming home in 4th and Dale in 5th. Really happy for Richard Childress. Gosh, he's worked so hard to get these teams where they belong.
We are set to go green here in New Hampshire, the first of 200 laps. Settle in and join us here on TNN Motorsports. 3 wide there. Andy Houston trying to make a move on the initial start. There's Lonnie Rush in the 10 going wide. And you've got Sprague leading Hornaday.
Joe Ruttman there in the 3rd place truck, moving right up. You can see right now he means business today. I think he's really focused. He was very loose when we talked to him early today, Larry.
Yeah, he again, they've been working on that truck. And, you know, the unique thing about it, I just keep thinking about this truck race here today, is these guys have got to have these trucks right in the beginning because they know they can't make those major changes because there is no halftime today.
So Wallace ahead of Hornaday. Then got Joe Ruttman. Sauter is next in line. Biffle and Sprague in that order. Front 3 pulling off by just a bit. Ruttman beginning to rumble. Mike Wallace takes the lead from the pole. I believe they tell me in my ear that I had said Sprague in error. It is Wallace who indeed started and took the lead right from the get-go.
Eli, you and I talked to Mike Wallace, and he said they mean business too. They have a truck for every race. They said, go out there, forget the points, stand on it. If you wreck every time, we have a truck to back it up.
Right, Tim Cahuth was telling us that yesterday, the crew chief on that team. Problems up in the corner.
Tony Roper there in the 55.
And Randy Tolsma in the 61. Caution as they work it at lap number 3. Roper, as we said, had a superb run at Indianapolis on Thursday night, finished second. And for Tolsma, this is his first ever visit to the New Hampshire International Speedway. So caution on the racetrack. It'll be at lap number 4 officially as we take a look at what happened middle of the pack.
This is going into turn 3 here. There you see
Tolsma and Tammy Jo Kirk get together. Tony Roper tries to go the high side and gets collected by Tolsma's truck as it goes to the outside of the racetrack.
Just nowhere for him to go, and he run out of racetrack up there and is against the wall. Looks like he come out with the most damage. There you see Tolsma with a flat left rear, a lot of sheet metal damage, trying to stay on the lead lap. They'll get in the pits, and there you see part of the inner crush panel that seals that area off, coming off their aluminum piece, but he's trying to get to the pits and at least get that left rear changed.
So caution for the first time here today, and it comes out early at lap number 4. Tony Roper hanging up his hat for the day. His afternoon is done. We have seen pit stops. One was for Andy Houston. Matt, what's the deal?
A big break for Andy Houston. At the drop of the green, he started to fall back. The problem, a plug wire had fallen off. He came in while we were away at break. They put the plug wire back on. He was down and away, but he will have to come back in because they did not get all the hood pins on, so they're also going to top him off with fuel. Glenn Jarrett.
Well, you can hear Randy Tolsma's truck taking off. He's already lost 2 laps by my count. He was involved in that wreck. The big problem they had, well, we're going to show you if we'll get the camera to come right over here. This tire carcass, when it shredded right here, he was cut down in the wreck. It wrapped itself around the rear axle housing. It took him about a lap and a half to get that thing off. He lost a lot of valuable time, did some damage up underneath. They think they've got him back, but as I said, 2 laps down. Tough break for Randy.
And again, what happened moments ago as we ride and take a look.
That's Tolsma there in the taupe truck on the inside. Tammy Jo, they make contact right there. He spins right up in front of Tony Roper and, hard into the outside wall.
Meanwhile, the green flag is in the air, and we are back to racing here at New Hampshire as Mike Wallace leads them back into turn number 1.
See everybody pretty much in single file, out in kind of a one-groove racetrack right around the bottom. Sometimes they get in trouble, you get up there in that second groove.
Hornaday going for the lead. Got it, and he brings Ruttman with him.
Ruttman right along with him there on the bottom side. You see Wallace there fighting back as best he can on the outside, but the outside part of this racetrack is pretty slick.
Good scramble for second spot with Jay Sauter in the 3, the winner here a year ago. Let's see if he can cover the spot and keep Wallace caught outside.
You can see the 52 truck there.
They
touched just a little bit. Sauter really doing a great job of holding that truck straight as he starts down the back straightaway.
You see Biffle getting by Sauter as he was still trying to gather it up down the back straightaway.
And Biffle's in that red truck. The man who currently is second in Rookie of the Year point standings. Only 8 points behind Andy Houston, who's had problems here on the early going, as we've documented. If you're just tuning in and maybe haven't checked out a Truck Series race over the last while, remember that the halftime break that you're used to is no longer part of the agenda. When they used to break it halfway for 5 minutes and tire changes and all of that, it's now gone by the wayside. They've got full speed pit stops just like all of the other NASCAR Touring Series.
And Eli, what they can do, they can gamble a little bit, maybe just change the rear tires. If the truck's sliding through the corners, just make a tire change on the rear. It really makes them gamble a little bit and makes it more interesting, I think, and gets them prepared if they do move up the Winston Cup later on.
Everything's settling down for the moment, but again, Jay Sauter moments ago, remember coming off turn number 2, did a good job in saving it here against Wallace.
There you see him on the bottom. Wallace comes down a little bit, gets in the right front of Jay's truck, gets a little bit loose, gathers it up, keeps chasing it down the back straightaway.
Meanwhile, for the lead, Joe Ruttman wants it and has the preferred groove against Hornaday in turn 1.
And Hornaday says, I'm going to fight you for it here. As they come off the corner, Ruttman gets a little bit better grip off the corner there, but you see Hornaday hadn't given it up yet. He's still fighting to get back to the lead.
So Ruttman now becomes the third leader of the event. Mike Wallace and Hornaday have both led. They are still running first, second, and third with Biffle fourth. Slaughter is fifth.
That looks kind of familiar. There's two Jack Roush trucks in the top 5 right now, first and fourth right now, and they're really going at it. Greg Biffle in the 50 there, the red truck, is running in fourth.
Just underway, 12 laps in to the Pennzoil VIP Discount Auto Parts 200. All the starters, with the exception of Tony Roper, remain on the racetrack. We're back with more right after this. Here in New Hampshire, the 4th race of the year, which he has led. The first one he's led, though, since Watkins Glen, some 8 races ago. He has the advantage on Ron Hornaday. Mike Wallace is third, Greg Biffle fourth, and Jay Sauter runs fifth. Jack Sprague is sixth, Ron Barfield is seventh, Kevin Harvick is eighth. Mike Bliss is now up to 9th spot after starting in 17th, and Stacy Compton runs 10th.
Barry Dodson is the key wrench on this, the crew chief, and they had the fastest truck in practice all day yesterday. Just had a terrible qualifying, but you can see the truck's doing very well, hanging in the middle part of the racetrack, not right on the yellow line like we're accustomed to seeing, but he's really accelerating well off the corner.
And also, you hear him being talked to by Eddie Thrapp with a spotter, and Barry Dodson, the team's crew chief. And we ought to tip our hat to that man. We had a great run, finishing 7th in the NASCAR Busch Series race. Bliss did at Indianapolis on Friday night, the Kroger 200. Meanwhile, in the garage, Tony Roper. His afternoon may well be done after that early accident. Let's get an update.
Well, Eli, the Ice House Ford team, as you can see, cutting away the fender, doing some work on it. Tony, not the place you wanted to be this early. I know what happened.
No, it's a real shame. Second lap of a 200 lapper, and a couple people got together. They were racing really hard, and I just didn't have any place to go. I hate it for this Ice House team. We had a good truck, and we were kind of on a roll. Second at IRP on Thursday night. It's just a real shame. I hate it for everybody, but you know, I guess second lap in should have been a time to be spreading out and feeling yourself out, but that didn't happen.
Well, the disappointment is compounded because Thursday night he scored his career best finish, second at IRP.
Indeed it was his first top 5 of his career in this series, and it was a strong second place run. So 19 laps on the board. Good battle here. 3rd and 4th on your screen. Wallace in the white truck. The red truck is Biffle. Sauter in the 5. Is in the 3. He's running in 5th spot, that black machine.
That's Jack Sprague in the 24 just behind him there. These guys are going at it right now. I think Mike Wallace may be holding this group up just a little bit.
And there you see further back as you come now to the 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th place trucks. Jimmy Hensley now riding with Brian Refner.
Saw the flame coming out of the exhaust pipes there. That's just that raw fuel burning in the exhaust pipes, and it actually looks like something's on fire in there, but it's just the raw fuel burning.
Everybody handling well. The 31 truck right in there, Kevin Sawinski. As again we ride with Refner looking rearward. We go from Refner back to Jimmy Hensley.
Jimmy Hensley's been at this racetrack since the inception of the Speedway itself. Set on the pole the first race they ever had here at New Hampshire.
Exactly did. And here's the battle for the lead. Hornaday draws even with Ruttman.
Oh, he almost made contact there. As a matter of fact, he might have touched him just a little bit, but these guys love to race each other.
And he didn't take the bottom groove away from Ruttman. He drove down on the apron to get by him.
Ron Hornaday, that is Laverne, the truck he is driving, the truck that won at Nazareth. They go around the 00. That's Ryan McGlynn in that green truck they just bypassed. Second race that McGlynn has run in the series. Again, look at this power move for the lead here seconds ago, guys.
Ron Hornaday in the blue truck on the bottom of the 16 there, completely on the apron there, makes a pass on Joe Ruttman on the low side. You can see Joe tried to hold him off, could not hold that position.
So 23 laps are into the books right now. Hornaday shows the way. We're still early live in New Hampshire on TNN Motorsports. 23, Rutman led 24, 25, and 26. Then at lap 27, Hornaday reassumes the lead. So we'll take a look again at what happened, as these guys seem to be having a good old time out there.
Well, you can see Hornaday on the bottom side there as they come down the straightaway, Larry.
That was off turn 4, and he just gets the position going down into turn 1. And Rutman has no choice but to fall back in line.
But there's a new sheriff in town. They're in third place. Biffle finally got by the 52 truck of Mike Wallace, and he has closed in on the leaders and only about 4 truck lengths back now.
And notice how much distance now he's put on Mike Wallace. And that's the thing about Loudon. Track position, track position. You can be 3 or 4 tenths quicker than another truck, but it's so hard to pass. But once he finally passed him, he drove away. Now he's catching these leaders.
All right, Wallace and those fellas now 1 8/10 seconds behind the race leader, as here they come storming back around the Jeff Spraker truck. That's that black machine to the right of your screen. Let's check in with Matt Yoakum down on pit road.
The problem for Ron Hornaday, if you can have a problem leading the race, is aero. When Joe Rutman gets close to his rear deck lid, he gets loose. He has since gone back into the lead, but he says his truck is a little bit loose, so they're going to make adjustments on the first pit stop, which should be around laps 70 to 80. I pulled a number of crew chiefs this morning. That was the window, and the biggest question they asked back was what did Fred Ward, the 16 crew chief, and Dennis Connor, the 24 crew chief, have to say about that, and their window was the exact same.
So that's the story from the pit lane as the leaders now work lap number 32, going around the Kevin Harvick machine and Lance Norrick as well. Here come Mike Wallace, Sauter, and Sprague, 4th, 5th, and 6th position.
Ron Barfield in the 35 there, just behind those, the yellow truck.
Now look at Sauter trying to work over Wallace the same way Biffle was before, Larry.
Yeah, where he's really beating him is through the center of the corner. There he passes and getting into turn 1. Mike Wallace trying to get back down before Sprague takes a position. We was getting a report that Mike Wallace and Jack Sprague both, their trucks was tight and wouldn't turn, and that's a big characteristics of Loudon, New Hampshire. And the sad part about it, if it won't turn, it just gets worse and worse as you get into a run.
Now they're making a move around Wallace as he got out of line. We ride with Mike Bliss. He is up to
Total contact.
Look at that.
You could see the smoke come off the left rear corner where the truck made contact. Mike Wallace there just on the outside. Barfield gets the position. You were right with these guys are just fighting it out all over the racetrack. Rick Crawford, 14 there, has moved into contention also. Mike Bliss in the 2 probably has passed more trucks than anybody on the track at
Probably
this moment.
so. Started back in 17. You see the Napa rundown across the top of the screen, brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. At Napa, we keep America running. Looking back for Mike Bliss, who is up to 8th. See Tony Raines down there behind traffic trying to peek to the inside and see if he can get around one of the other trucks. By the way, want to say hello to Jan Levy, who I know is watching our telecast today, the veteran NASCAR Featherlight Modified Tour Series driver, who is in a hospital in Concord, New Hampshire after an accident in qualifying here yesterday. He was banged up a bit, but they tell me he's going home tomorrow. Ed Cox, who administers the Featherlight Modified Tour, talked with Jan on the phone just a bit ago. So, Jan, hope to see you back out in that familiar number 25 modified before too much longer.
Boy, Jack Roush can pick him, can he? I'd never heard of Greg Biffle, and all of a sudden he's in one of Jack Roush's trucks, and you can see the end results right now. Running in the top 3, that's him in the red truck there, running in 3rd place. What a talent. He was a 2-time wrestling champion in his hometown, so he likes sports, likes competing, and he's wrestling that truck pretty well right now, too.
Yeah, 3 top 5 finishes already here in 1998.
See, Hornaday he don't quite keep his truck down in the center of the corner, and that's normally if he's saying he's loose, he can't turn the steering wheel. But you know what he's saying is when Rutman gets right up on his bumper, it's taking the air off that spoiler up on the back of that pickup truck bed and really making him loose. There you see Rutman running right up on him, and I guarantee you, as experienced as Rutman is, he's seeing it too when he gets to him.
He's enjoying it because he knows he's making life miserable for Hornaday, who rolls out the throttle and lets Rutman go right back in. Now watch him tuck right back up under him. He says, you like that? I'll let you see what it feels like.
Now see, probably what'll happen right here now with him sandwiched between 2 trucks is now Rutman is taking the air off the front of the truck, so actually the truck will tighten up when he's got somebody to follow.
Well, Greg Biffle's not going to give him the luxury of knowing what is that like without somebody right on his tailgate. So you can see these trucks really fighting it out right here. Great race for first and second and third.
Meanwhile, let's check out Butch Miller's truck. There he is on the inside of the screen, that white and blue machine being bypassed by Keselowski right there. He has been stomping on the brake pedal. There it is, inserted in the upper right of the screen. When he goes into the corners, you'll already see his brakes begin to glow red hot.
We have a unique camera to show you this, and I think we have a picture of the right front that we can show you, and you can see when he starts down in the corner and gets on the brake, it should just light up cherry red on the right front corner.
You know, a lot of times, Buddy, also if a truck's not turning, there you see it really glowing. He'll use that brake pedal not only to stop it, but to make that truck hook and turn around the corner as well.
Well, you don't want to carry too much speed into the corner, and if you slow it down, of course, the tire will work better. So that's the reason you use the brake and make it turn a lot better.
If you're a Mike Ewanitsko fan, the truck he's driving, owned by Joe Ambrosia, Ricky Jazombek on that crew, they have just gone to the garage area as the second retiree, with Tony Roper out for that early accident here at lap number 4. So as we continue on the green, we're 41 laps into the 200 lapper here in New Hampshire. We continue in a moment. 6 laps into the 200, the Pennzoil VIP Auto Parts 200. Leader still Joe Ruttman. Meanwhile, there's the Pure One truck for Mike Wallace. He is now 9 1/10 seconds behind in 11th spot. Glenn Jarrett, what's going on?
I think I misinformed you a while ago when I reported that he was tight. Timmy Cahoot gave me a signal. I thought he was saying tight, but the truck is really loose right now, Tim.
Yeah, right now it's a lot looser than what we thought it was going to be. You know, we're going to back up a few spots instead of taking a chance on wrecking. And we got a long afternoon yet ahead, and we can tighten it up on the brake.
How long can you go before you have to pit?
I mean, if it stays green, we can run 95 laps.
Okay, that's the story for Wallace. They're just looking for an opportunity to tighten that thing up.
And Mike right there, still in 11th spot. There you see the lap speed for him. He was the pole sitter this day, but he's down some 3 miles an hour to the laps being turned by Joe Ruttman, who is the race leader at this stage of the afternoon. And there is the spread among the lead machines. Ruttman by roughly a half second on Hornaday and Biffle. Then Jack Sprague in 4th. Ron Barfield is up to 5th. Good run for him. Mike Bliss now all the way up to 6th. There you see how the fellows who are battling for the points have done here over the last little bit, where they are currently running on that bottommost line. Sprague in 4th, Hornaday 2nd. And that's the point situation right now. It was 22 between Sprague and Hornaday now, 32 when the day began, and Ruttman was 80 back when the afternoon started, so he too is at this very moment picked up some 20 points. We've got caution on the speedway for Lance Norrick. Lance Norrick, and that is not his normal looking National Hockey League sponsored truck. He wrecked that one here in practice yesterday, and they have pulled out a backup for Butch Miller's machine and let the NHL folks get on board there as a bit of a thank you. You might have remembered earlier that when Butch Miller had problems making a race, the Dana logos went on Norrick's truck for that particular day. So they've kind of swapped that off in a bit of a thank you for a previous good deed, but unfortunately Norrick now bringing out the caution at lap number 50.
Bad luck for one, good luck for other people. These guys will be heading down pit road on the next lap by if the pit lane is open. Norrick is right off of turn 4 right now. So these guys that have been having handling problems, they really look forward to getting in here and doing something about it.
Yeah, this will give them a chance to adjust it. I'm sure everybody's going to come in, probably change 2 right side tires, fill it up with fuel, because what this will do coming out on lap 50, this will let everybody make it on one more stop before the end of the race.
All right, if they go the 95 laps that Timmy Cahoot was talking about before, you're looking at roughly 145 of the 200 for the next stop, and here they all come. The rule here is only 5 men over the wall unless you add fuel, in which case the 6th person across the wall can strictly be the gas catch can man. They can't do anything more than that. You can change only 2 tires per stop under caution. Matt?
Ron Hornaday already in his pit. Still reporting his truck was on the loose side, so they are going to try to adjust his truck. You can see Wesley Sherrill bumping up the rear spoiler. He is going to change 2 tires on the outside. He's down in the wake contact with Andy Houston.
Hornaday in Houston.
He's off. Now to Glenn Jarrett.
Okay, thanks, Matt. Pandemonium up here also. I'm in the 2 pit. Mike Bliss has come in and taken right side tires and fuel. And we'll get a report on Joe Ruttman. I had to send my runner up there as I had come to do an interview with Barry Dodson when the caution came out. So I'll get up and find out exactly what Ruttman did. But Bliss made no changes on his truck. He seemed to be about the quickest truck out there.
But I'll tell you, this being just the 3rd race in which pit stops have been utilized, full speed pit stops, that we have seen always something going on. Watch what happens here as Hornaday got set to leave. You see Rush coming in, Corelli going by, and here comes Houston.
There you see Houston coming in and just catches Andy in the left door there. And again, you know, the driver has a mirror, but I guess once that ever happens to you as a crew chief, you're watching for your driver as other trucks is coming down pit road. There you see a lot of damage on the right front fender of Ron Hornaday's truck.
The valance is skin up a little bit, but nothing should touch the tire.
That's the report from the spotter. We're back with more from New Hampshire in a moment. International, we are set to go back to green in one more lap. The race leader right now is Randy Renfroe, who did not make a pit stop. Remember, he was the driver who would have started in 5th, but had to go to the back of the field because of the infraction in qualifying yesterday, or in the post-qualifying inspection, when he was found to have a non-approved part in the engine. There is the first man who has pitted. That's Joe Ruttman running 2nd. Let's hear from Glenn Jarrett in Ruttman's pit.
And as I promised, I got the update on Joe. I'm getting a little old, guys. Can't move as fast as I used to. Ruttman took on left side tires and fuel. His crew chief told me they hope that's the only time they have to change the left side tires today. Meanwhile, remember we told you Jack Sprague was tight. They put on right side tires and raised the track bar 2 rounds. Also fueled him up. And Mike Wallace got that caution he was looking for. They changed right side tires and put a bunch of bite in the truck to try to tighten him up. Let's go to Matt.
Todd Barrier and company here in the Goodrich pit changed right side tires on the 3 truck of Jay Sauter. He was complaining his truck was tight up off the corner, so they made some air pressure adjustments. Also the same for Greg Biffle in the 50. They made some air pressure adjustments for him as well. Also, an update on Ron Hornaday's condition. The 3 truck pulled up alongside, says his fender looks pretty good. There's a little bit of damage where the front valance connects to the fender.
They had turned the lights back on atop the safety truck, and they have given the field the 1 to go yet again. How significant is that little bit of sheet metal damage there?
Well, I think, you know, with the speeds they run here, you're seeing the bottom of that valance there. I don't know so much the piece hanging off, but right there where you see the part that's dented in right there, I think that could cause more of an aero push. Now, of course, he's been loose. Maybe that's what his truck will take to balance it out, but I'm just not sure with the speeds here that could make the front end not want to stick very good.
So that's what the story is on Hornaday. We'll wait and see once they come up to full speed whether they're able to do it. I'll tell you, this whole series has been going full speed for the last couple of weeks. You realize the miles that these fellows have put on? Not just the fellows who are driving today, but the drivers who drive the transporters, the team haulers, from the California Speedway to Pikes Peak International to Indianapolis Raceway Park on Thursday, and now here to New Hampshire International Speedway. Some major league miles that they've gone coast to coast.
They were working on the trucks, the backup trucks, yesterday at a fever pitch. It looked like another race being held here maybe tomorrow, trying to get some of the trucks that had been torn up. They've really been at it lately.
And of course, next week on to Flemington, New Jersey, right here on TNN Motorsports. Set to go. Let's see if Randy Renfroe can stay in front now. Green is in the air.
Be interested to see how long he can stay in there. Of course, Ruttman having to deal with the lap truck there, Randy Talsman. Of course, that gives Renfroe a little bit of a jump there on the restart.
Here's Bob Keselowski, middle of the field, picking his way through traffic.
Boy, he's got a seat in there. He looked like a barber chair sitting up in there. He's hurt his back, and he's trying to make it through till the end of the season right now. He has a different type seat in that truck. But I guarantee you right now that the best medicine he can have is get out on the racetrack.
This is for 4th. Sauter in the black truck and Hornaday in that Napa number 16.
Behind him if you need it. Still outside. You're clear.
Just couldn't make the pass getting into turn 1, had to fall back in line. Jay Sauter and his crew, they did have a good pit stop on that last stop. They moved up several positions, but at Richard Childress Racing, we have a pit stop practice car, and it took missing about 3 weeks ago. We was ready to practice pit stops. They said, oh, the truck guys has got it. They're up there practicing pit stops.
There's your answer on Hornaday. That truck seems to be flying right now. They've made adjustments on it. It seems to be hanging the racetrack quite well, even with the damage to the right front corner.
Some good battling also 3 wide moments ago. That light blue truck, Lonnie Rush, who had a superb run in Indianapolis. Tammy Joe in the 51 trying to make a move. And the 69, that black truck with the inside covered, that's Jeff Spraker. There you see middle of the field again. They all go around Spraker. Up front, Ruttman for the lead. Inside of Renfro.
Renfro hanging tough on the outside there, gets a great jump up out of the corner, but the 99 of Ruttman, he was a little bit sideways getting in the corner.
He was on the flat.
And let me tell you something, Ron Hornaday passed 2 trucks on the outside. That's pretty strong right there.
Watch what Mike Bliss has dangling from the back of his truck.
I believe what that is, I believe that's like a rear brake duct hose. I don't believe it's anything that could cause any problem. It's probably just the hose, and it's still kind of hanging on by one of the wires, but probably one of the hoses that actually cools one of the rear wheels.
He's running in 9th.
Dragging a piece of brake duct hose or somewhere.
That's why you're up here.
Oh, I don't know about that. I figured he's going to say you're dragging an exhaust pipe or something.
Look who's in the lead here, Ron Hornaday.
Just made the move and grabbed the spot away from Randy Renfro, who is now in 2nd. So Hornaday will retake the lead at lap number 61.
Great job by Brett Riffle moving into 2nd place in the number 50 truck.
What we got to remember, guys, Randy Renfro has the tires that he started this race on that truck right now. Again, we talked about it earlier, track position. What he needs is a long 30, 40, maybe 50 lap green flag run to get his tires where those guys are going to have to take tires too should the caution come out.
Boy, I apologize to Renfro. He's driving his heart out, and I'm calling him out of 2nd place there. Greg Biffle's in 3rd. He got by Joe Ruttman, is what I meant to say.
Meanwhile, back in 7th spot, there's a good battle. Mike Wallace in the white 52, Tony Raines in that yellow number 19. You've got Mike Bliss right behind, the 3 of Sauter just ahead. That's 6th, 7th, and 8th on the screen now. And here comes Bliss in 9th and Harvick in 10th. Here's that piece of brake duct still bouncing right along. What is that made out of, Larry?
Well, it's just kind of a cloth material, and all they do is just they put a hose down the trailing arm to pick up air kind of off the pavement just to blow it to kind of cool the rear brakes. The rear brakes, you need to keep those cool at a place like this. It's not near as important. In fact, you can overcool the rear brakes and make the front brakes work too hard. So you just want a little bit of cooling going to the rear brakes.
Mike Bliss has the view of the battle for the lead. Ron Hornaday shows the way. 63 laps complete in New Hampshire. Hampshire International Speedway, the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. But coming up next, that event right there. We might have said that was the Grand Prix of Three Rivers, or you might say Le Grand Prix Players de Trois-Rivières. Whatever, you get the idea. The SCCA Trans Am Series. As soon as we move aside, it's coming up here on TNN Motorsports.
That was exactly what I was going to say.
I thought it was. Welcome back, everybody. Eli Gold, Buddy Baker, Larry McReynolds, Glenn Jarrett, Matt Yoakum live with you here at New Hampshire International Speedway, the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. You're watching a good scramble, middle of the field right now for 8th, 9th, and 10th spot on back. The leader is still Ron Hornaday, ahead of Randy Renfro, still hanging in tightly in 2nd. That battle from Sauter there, that's 6th, 7th, 8th on your screen. Sauter, Wallace, Raines, then Mike Bliss in the blue and white 75 for Harvick, and Rick Crawford coming into the picture, the old man now, turned 40 the other day.
Eli, just a second ago, the 3 truck of Jay Sauter was having a fight with Ron Hornaday for position. You see he's dropped back a little bit, and he has a lot of trucks just behind him there. He may be not handling the way he was just before the break there.
A little bit loose up off the corner.
There you see Tony Raines. Likes the truck he's in today. He should. It won at the I-70 Speedway in Odessa, Missouri. Had the victory in Texas. Ran well in California. So that's Tony Range in that yellow machine. There's Mike Bliss. Ninth place run for him right now, up from 17th starting spot. It'll be 70 laps complete when they get back to the stripe.
Good turn 3 and 4 that time, Mike.
That's looking back to Mike Bliss's truck. See Kevin Harvick just behind him there as they go into turn 1.
Looks like he kind of beats him down in the corner. Maybe Bliss pulls him up off the corner just a little bit, but Kevin Harvick really getting down in the corner.
250 oil.
Harvick leading the points in the NASCAR Winston West Series. And there's problems off in the corner. Couple of trucks banging off the wall. The number 97, Tim Bolton, brings out the caution. Caution, lap number 71 for Tim Bolton, who indeed is making his Craftsman Truck Series debut here today. Bolton, for those of you in the Carolinas, might remember that he has had a regular career at the Concord Motorsports Park in Concord, North Carolina.
You can see him drop the window net there. That's to let the corner workers and all know that he's okay. You see him moving around in the truck, backed it in there on the left-hand corner there. One thing you notice on a flat track like this, it's only 12 degrees of banking in the corner, so when you go down in there, it's not like a high bank track where you hit the outside wall and then spin to the inside. Once you get out there, you pretty well stay there.
Lap 72, as you see Tammy Jo Kirk climbing from her truck right there. So the Georgia driver apparently done for the afternoon in her truck number 51. Now, time-wise, as far as lap count is concerned, as you see Bolton pulling off the wall, probably a little earlier for that caution than Renfro would have liked to have seen. Huh?
I'm just sitting here thinking, you know, I'm going to be really surprised if he don't come into pits, because I got to believe he's only maybe about 20, 25 laps away from his fuel window. So I just don't believe the leaders are going to pit, because they've only got about 20 laps on their tires. So if he pits, he's going to go probably from about 2nd to about 25th here. And I just can't believe he'll stay out. Maybe he will and bank on another caution coming before lap 95 or so.
And probably he'll go back even further than that as we check the computer now. He'll go all the way back to the 28th spot. And here comes Randy Renfro in to make a stop. Again, Dominic Dobson owns that truck and began driving it this year. And here comes Sprague just ahead of him. There's Jack in the number 24. So Sprague is in, Raines is in, so too Renfro. Crawford and Compton and Hensley. Andy Houston is in. Corelli again. Keselowski is in. Sawinski makes a stop. Butch Miller comes in also.
You see the 24 truck there taking on left side tires as they're putting in one can of gas. They're filling him up right now. Very important to get these left sides right now with the 2-tire rule.
Well, I tell you, I can guarantee you one thing. That'll be the last set of left side tires that 24 truck sees the rest of the day. So, you know, and what this will also do, this buys him extra 20 or 30 laps on his fuel. So that means, you know, with probably about 30 or 35 to go, he can come in and maybe even just get a squirt of gas and finish his race.
So pit stop strategy being played out already. Just 73 laps in as the spotters look on from high overhead the main grandstands in New Hampshire. Live at New Hampshire International Speedway. Field is coming to the green this time by, and check out this battle out of pit road here seconds ago.
4 wide as they start down through there, Larry, and you can see Tony Raines getting right over in Rick Corelli there.
Well, again, you know, I think that, you know, what he could have done is not went out so far, but again, I think this is just part of the learning period about pit stops. Not only just changing tires, but getting in and out of the pits, I'm sure is going to take these guys a while to figure it out. And we're not going to go back racing. They're waving the yellow flag again here.
All right, they've put the caution back out, so it gives us a chance to check out today's AutoZone Tech Fact. Brought to you by AutoZone and the more than 2,500 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts. Here's Glenn Jarrett.
Hey, thanks, Eli. Appreciate you getting that extra lap under caution so we can do this. We're seeing pit stops in the Truck Series for the first time, and while it's new to most of the competitors in the Truck Series, it's not new to Barry Dodson from your Winston Cup days. But there are a few differences in the Truck Series pit stops versus Winston Cup.
Yeah, we're only allowed 5 people in the mandatory catch can. Then when we're fueling, what we elected to do is use 1 tire carrier. So that works out for us. You're seeing the stops a little bit slower, and we're only allowed to get 2 tires per caution, or you'd have seen everybody get 4 tires the first time and probably stay out this time.
A lot of similarities and yet a few differences, but I tell you what, it's really up to the level of the Craftsman Truck Series. It enters strategy and it gives people an opportunity to have a good day.
Well, these guys have had great days. They have had consistently some of the best pit stops of anybody, but they're one of the teams that has a lot of experience doing it. They haven't even practiced yet. They're pulling off 9 and 10-second pit stops for 2 tire changes. That's great.
Barry Dodson with 19 NASCAR Winston Cup Series wins, including 6 during Rusty Wallace's 1989 championship season. So he is indeed a man who knows his way around strategy. Green flag is in the air. Lap number 78, the restart of 200. Riding with Boris Said. Lonnie rushes to his outside. Meanwhile, up front, there's, you see the spread, first, second, and third. Hornaday to Old Biffle. Greg's right in there in that red truck. Ruttman in third. If you're keeping tabs, Tim Bolton has gone to the garage. So has Tammy Jo Kirk. So 4 retirees now from today's 200-miler.
I want to know something. Do y'all practice restarts with the number 3? I mean, I've never... I was just talking about Jay Sauter falling off a little bit, not looking all that great, and all of a sudden, here he is in 4th place doing a great job. What a great restart he had.
Really did, you know, and that is something that we've worked on, and again, they worked on that truck and seemed like they got a little bit better here since that last pit stop. And there you see Randy Tolsma really getting high. Randy 2 laps down, trying to make that lap up, but just don't quite have the truck here today to do it right now.
You see Randy Renfro, we talked of him, and Jack Sprague, who had come in, lost 14 positions in the final calculation. We had guessed he'd probably lose 15 or so. So that's how everybody is running right now after the most recent pit stops.
Here comes Mike Wallace looking on the inside of Jay Sauter, but down the far end of the straightaway, Jay Sauter's got a good truck. It really accelerates well. Right here, Mike Wallace is quicker, though, getting up out of the corner.
Obviously, having gotten that truck dialed back in after being loose in the early going.
You know, sometimes what you got to be careful, and that's what these guys had to experience a while ago, is sometimes changing just right side tires will actually even make the truck looser, especially for several laps. And I'm sure what Timmy Cahoot and them probably did is maybe put a little bit of air pressure in that right front tire, stiffen that right front spring rate, maybe even let a little out of the right rear. Both of those things will actually tighten these trucks up, especially changing 2 right side tires.
Riding with Mike Bliss, looking back towards Kevin Harvick, and you see MCI bringing you NASCAR timing and scoring across the top of the screen. Now Boris Said being bypassed for 10th spot and 11th right there. So he'll lose a couple of positions as Rush and Sprague both go by the Federated Auto Parts truck.
Yeah, he just got a little bit on the outside there, and Sprague really shot the gap there in the center part of the corner and made a great move.
60 is Andy Houston inside of Stacy Compton. That's that orange and red machine right there, middle of the screen. Compton is in that blue RC Cola entry.
Little contact there as they go down the straightaway. Both these guys want the same piece of real estate right now. Andy Houston in the 60 there fighting back. He's already got a good bit of damage on the left front door of that truck. You can see right there it's kind of caved in. Jimmy Hensley in the 43 under Stacy Compton as they head down towards the back straightaway.
That's 16th, 17th, 18th, and 19th. Barfield in the 35 had an idea.
That was a pretty gutsy move. Just run out of racetrack right there.
And the 7 also in the mix there. Barry Bodine being pulled out of the way by Houston.
Who said racing not a contact sport?
Andy Houston is definitely trying to head to the front. That first caution that come out certainly put his truck back to running when they got that spark plug wire back on.
He stopped at lap 5 and again at lap number 6 and took care of that spark plug wire.
Kevin Sawinski in the 31 there. You can see him getting loose as he comes off turn 2. Barry Bodine maybe in the way just a little bit now as they go 3 wide in the corner.
And backing out is Sawinski, the 31.
Rick Corelli was all the way down on the apron.
Poor old Barry Bodine, kind of he's getting beaten around out there. Everybody's taking a shot at the number 7
truck.
truck.
He's saying, hey guys, have I got a bullseye on this thing?
Let me tell you, he's doing a great job though. I don't think he has to shave but once a month right now. He's so young and he's doing a great job there. And the only way to learn is doing just what he's doing right now. Go out there and get bumped around.
Riding with Butch Miller.
Crawford there with that beautiful paint job, the big star on the front. And if you notice the back there, it looks just like the Texas flag. It's got a white and red strip down through there.
That's exactly what it was. He debuted that paint job when the series ran at the Texas Motor Speedway earlier this season.
Got a Big Daddy on the back here taking him a ride down the back straightaway, too.
And here goes Andy Houston now, again in the 60. He gets around Anderson in the 84, that red truck, the second one, and that too is a battle for rookie honors. Remember, Houston is the leader. He's got a 28-point lead on Anderson, as Anderson in the 84 and Jimmy Hensley in the 43 now scramble.
Well, they just made light contact there. Jimmy Hensley, one of the cleanest drivers in any sport, but they get every once in a while you just get in there. Terry Cook in the 88 now making a move also. I don't think Anderson's truck's handling it just like he wants it to.
But Glenn, it looks as though Andy Houston's got his act going again now after the early problems.
Oh, without a doubt, Eli. I've been watching him. In fact, right before that last caution flag, Andy was about the third quickest truck on the track. It come from all the way back in the field. And I'm telling you what, he is putting on some kind of show. They got that thing dialed in. If he could happen to get one more caution flag, I honestly believe he could be a factor in this thing. He's quick right now. We were talking about Jimmy Hensley too, buddy. He has new left side tires. He stopped that time. He's awfully good too.
See the lap count, 113 remaining, as Stacy Compton in that blue machine now joins that battle. He's in 20th spot. You know who's running well is Barfield again in that green and yellow 35 inside of Cook. Good scramble there. Here goes Corelli right by Cook as well. Watch what happened moments ago behind Andy Houston. There's the Hensley Anderson.
Look how far sideways he gets. What a great catch there. I tell you, Anderson's got a lot of his father in him. Dick Anderson is one of the best drivers I've ever watched on short track. And I tell you, the apple didn't fall far from the tree there.
He wrote the short track record books, didn't he?
He was real lucky he gathered it up, not only for himself, but the 20 trucks that was right behind him.
27 trucks still on the lead lap. The spread from the leader Hornaday to 27 Barry Bodine is now 15.5 seconds. Back in a moment. Lap number 92. Randy Renfro was in the wall. The leaders are on pit road. Matt Yoakum.
Ron Hornaday already in his stall. A little bit of trouble with the track. He is down and away. They changed left side tires. Jay Sawyer is also down and away, as is the 75 truck. Glenn Jarrett.
Oh, boy, trouble up here. Joe Ruttman in on left side tires. Mike Wallace is in for left sides also, but he got blocked in by Jack Sprague when he took off. Excuse me, Wallace put on right sides. Now, Sprague put on left sides again, and I thought he just did that, guys. But he changed left side tires again. The guys in the 52 pit are hot because Sprague didn't pull all the way into his pit. It blocked Wallace in. He lost about 5 spots.
So, I'll tell you one thing. Again, pit stops somewhat new. They are certainly somewhat adventuresome in the early stage of their use here in the Craftsman Truck Series. There's Jack Sprague being shown in 12th spot at this stage. Reason we're under caution, watch Randy Renfro.
Randy Renfro in the 78 there just loses control right by himself, backs into the wall hard with the left rear corner. You could see the truck come about 4 foot off the ground as he hit there.
Yeah, nobody got near him or into him. I was really concerned. You know, we talked about it early. He was running second, coming in pitted and went all the way back to 27th. Sometimes that'll get you in trouble, but he got in trouble on his own right there.
So we are under caution. The 5th different leader of the race now showing the way, Andy Houston. He has not made a pit stop at lap 92 when many of the other leaders did. But Glenn, let's go back to you and get another update on what happened there on pit road.
Yeah, when I said that Sprague didn't pull all the way over, I didn't mean to say that he did anything wrong. He was changing left side tires, and anytime you change left sides, you don't pull as far over toward pit wall to give your crew guys plenty of room to jack the truck up. So that's the reason he didn't pull over. Meanwhile, Wallace pulled a little deeper into his pit. The combination of those two just simply blocked him in. Wasn't any wrongdoing on anybody's part, just one of those things. Kind of like when he and Hornaday get together on the racetrack, huh?
Just one of those things, huh? 93 laps on the board on a magnificent day here in New Hampshire. He'll be going to green in just another lap or so. Come to green racing here at New Hampshire. 96 laps complete. Andy Houston is the race leader in the number 60 truck. Others picking their way back through traffic. Some pitted, others did not. just 3 laps shy of halfway. The 3-truck Sauter, he's in 9th spot.
This is where it really gets interesting, is when you have cautions like about every 20 laps like this. This group's pitting this time, this group's pitting this time, and you almost lose track. And it's almost like at the end, one group will shine, one group
problems in turn 2. That is Ryan McGlynn. Ryan McGlynn has not brought out the caution yet.
He's backing back out into the racetrack, and the leaders are coming, though. He needs to get back down. Oh, he's out of the way.
And we stay green. Ryan McGlynn, who spun a handful of times in the race he ran at Nazareth Speedway in Pennsylvania. Finished 28th there. He's a regular at the Tioga Speedway in New York, runs late model stock cars up there, but we stay under green. It'll be halfway next time by for Andy Houston, leading the 3rd race of the year for him. He led 9 laps at Texas, where he finished 2nd, and led 13 laps at California, where he finished 4th. Rick Corelli, he's running 5th right now in the Remax truck.
Let's give a good call for Ron Barfield in the 35 truck. He's been up near the front all day long, just out of the top 5, maybe 5th, 6th, 7th, most of the whole run. Now he's moved all the way up to 3rd. Track position is so very important, as you can see. They're actually putting a little distance on the next group behind them there.
Andy Houston leads him at halfway, takes home the Gatorade Front Runner Award for his efforts. Meanwhile, Randy Renfro is in the garage. Matt Yoakum is with him.
He and his truck are behind the pit wall. Randy, you started at the back, moved to the front, but what finally put you out?
Well, on the very start of the race, we had to start in the rear. And on the very start of the race, I mashed my brake pedal, and I had a half a pedal. I didn't say anything to these guys because I didn't want to put them in a panic mode, so I drove it all day pumping the brakes, and it would take 3 pumps down the front straightaway, 3 down the back straightaway to get about that much. And when I got on the outside of one truck and back under another, I didn't get a chance to pump it but twice, so it's my fault. I got in there a little bit too hot, and I knew when I got there that if I could make that corner, I know I could win this race. I had a truck to win the race with anyway. I'd just like to say thanks to MCI and all the folks at Dodge and Chrysler. I love the Dodge trucks. I'd say thanks to Todd Myers and Dominic Dawson for giving me this chance. And say hi to my mom in Walton Speedway, Verena, my dad, Joey, and Kinley, and all the people back home. Be home tomorrow.
Tough early exit.
Meanwhile, caution is on the speedway as the leaders come back to the stripe. Butch Miller's truck has stopped. The engine cut off as he crossed the start-finish line, and then he just bogged right down in the corner. He was trying to nurse it around. Almost looked like he might have been on the starter motor there, just kind of burping along, if you will, but he could make it no farther than the middle point of the back straightaway.
Now, guys, this is going to be interesting, and it never fails. It comes down to this. This caution comes on 103. That's 97 laps to go. We've heard some trucks talk. We can go 95. We can go 96 laps on fuel. I got to believe we're going to see some of those trucks on pit road getting fuel, hoping they get enough cautions that they can conserve and make it to the end, buddy.
Now, Larry, what do? Do you stay out there and go a couple extra laps and then come in, or do you come in and keep that good track position?
I think, again, if I had a truck that could run 95 laps, we're fixing to show 96 to go. Cautions, obviously, it's about a 2-to-1 ratio. 2 caution laps equal 1 green lap. So I got to believe I'm on pit road now, get that track position.
Well, Houston, you saw, tried to fake a few folks out. He does not pit, but Stacy Compton does. So an interesting call. We'll analyze it when we come back. Hampshire International Speedway field just now getting the 1-to-go signal. Butch Miller's truck has been pushed around to the garage area as the crew still does work on it, hoping maybe to be able to get it back in. There you see Bob Keselowski as he is back after injuries, back problems that have kept him on the shelf since Milwaukee. He is the subject of our Dodge Innovation in Motion.
Dodge Garage driver Bob Keselowski hoped to challenge for the series title this year, but an early season crash aggravated some old injuries, kept him out of the truck for about a month. He's back this week in New Hampshire, but Bob, you still got some injury, you still got some pain.
Yeah, I do. I still got some pain in the hips and a lower back area, and got a swell disc there that just ain't going to give up. I'm going to have to live with it. It's a lot better than it was when I got out of the truck a month ago, and I think I'll be okay. And it's going to take till the end of the season to get it fixed right. And we're working on our seat, trying to spread the seat, put a lot of padding in there, try to leave some pressure off the hip area. And we're looking for some other ideas too. Maybe some of them Winston Cup guys know how to fix this.
Well, I tell you what, it's a proven fact. If the driver's not comfortable, the truck doesn't go as fast.
That's the Dodge Innovation in motion. The green flag has just now flown and will show the way back into the corner. Lap 106 of 200. Remember, too, that of those battling for the lead, only a couple have elected to make a pit stop at this stage of the day, which would be their last stop should this race remain under green. Compton is one of those. Barry Bodine came in. He made a stop moments ago.
Back in the pack here, these guys are threading their way back after a pit stop. You see Joe Rutland there in the 99 truck, Ron Hornaday in the 16. Right now, you have to use a lot of patience coming back up through the crowd. You can get a little antsy. You can be right up in that wall where you see all them black marks down through there.
That's 7th and 8th you were talking about there moments ago. Rutland and Hornaday. If you're just tuning in, Tony Roper's in the garage, an early accident. Mike Uinitsko with engine problems. Rear end gear problems for Tammy Jo Kirk, sent her to the garage.
I will not pass him.
Jim
Set him up.
Bolton.
I will not pass him.
Randy Renfro and Butch Miller also out as we eavesdrop on Ron Hornaday's radio communication. Hornaday running in 8th, right there. Behind Rutman in 7th and ahead of Greg Biffle in that red and silver truck. He's running 9th.
Now, before this stop, that's how they were running first, second, third there. Joe Rutland was the leader. The trucks that are leading right now did not make a stop. So they're kind of rolling the dice right now.
Oh, Hensley, hold on, Jimmy.
Oh, he went up to no man's land and made it back.
He was getting passed by 2 trucks. The third one got into him and got him real loose. He was real lucky to hang on to that truck. There you see Mike Bliss getting under him. Jack Sprague, Mike Wallace, Jay Salt on his rear bumper. He's got a hornet's nest right there.
Yeah, it's not going to improve either, him on the outside there.
That'll move Hensley back to 15th.
I'd like to see that again. I tell you what, that was pretty intense as they got down in the corner there.
Listening to Mike Bliss's radio.
Jimmy just can't get his truck down. He just keeps getting past there. You see Mike Wallace working to the inside. Jay Sauter right behind there. Off into turn 3, makes the pass.
Take a look at it again, buddy. You wanted to see it. Here it is.
Okay, Jimmy Hensley in the 43 there. Going down into the corner, you see Crawford in the 14 right there. They make contact. Jimmy Hensley used all his many years of experience right there, getting that truck back and continuing on.
Glenn, I don't know if you could see the picture, but for all intents and purposes, Jimmy should have bought the wall right there.
Oh, yeah, Eli, I had him sideways way more than that a lot of times when he pulled out of it when we raced. But the reason that Jimmy's having trouble right now, the truck is extremely loose on this set of tires. He just simply has to chase it up the racetrack. He can't turn it without the back end turning sideways on it.
Meanwhile, the lead is tightening up. Ron Barfield, the young driver from Florence, South Carolina in the 35. Andy Houston in the 60 from Hickory, North Carolina. 2 of the young lions in this business.
You know, that 35 of Barfield, it had grass on it down on the low side. The Ortho is the sponsor on that truck. They've cut the grass.
He really beat Houston back to the throttle. There you see him off turn 4 down the front straightaway, door handle to door handle as they go off to turn 1.
And Barfield is the leader. Remember, he finished 5th in Homestead. That was the best performance he's had in the Craftsman Truck Series, which you saw here on TNN Motorsports. 3 races he has led already this year and takes over the top spot now. Ron Barfield. This will actually be the 4th race of the season that he's led. He had led 3 coming in.
Anybody that ever watched him in the All-Pro division knows that he is certainly a winner, and I think he has a great future. Bill Elliott at one time had him running for him in the Truck Series. So I tell you, I think Barfield has a great driving experience ahead of him in the years to come.
Yeah, when Bill Elliott spotted him as a protege, he doesn't make many mistakes either. A lot of guys know his worth. He's done some driving for Ricky Craven. And Matty's 12th in points, so I guess we shouldn't be surprised about his run to the front.
Another reason why he shouldn't be surprised, Eli, is his crew chief, Hal Dooley. He used to work with Jack Sprague in the 24 truck. If you recall, Sprague won the pole last year and finished second, so it's no surprise he's up at the front. Hal told me his strategy for a run to the finish is to pit around lap 160. They changed their lefts, then they changed their rights, and then they're going to put rights on the final stop. I talked to Rick Redden, the crew chief on the 60 truck for Andy Houston. He told me the truck is still perfect, but just a tick loose when he's out front. So being second at this juncture will tighten the truck up.
Working lap 115 of 200, Ron Barfield, another new leader here this afternoon. We're live in New Hampshire. To lead, that is the battle for 11th, 12th on back. Mike Bliss is at the 2, 3 is Sauter, 75 Harvick, and the 10 is Lonnie Rush. All of those trucks battling for 12th on back as we are live with you here at New Hampshire International Speedway. Middle stages of the Pennzoil VIP Discount Auto Parts 200. First of 4 races in succession for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series here on TNN Motorsports.
Looking back at Jay Sauter, I tell you, from Bliss's truck, Jay Sauter's got his hands full right now. You can see the truck very nervous in the back end as he comes off the corner there, moving around just a little bit.
Very nervous. My driver's never told me my truck is nervous.
I've heard your driver say a lot of things you hadn't heard.
He said, you make me nervous.
We continue to ride with Mike Bliss in 11th. Across the top of the screen, the Auto Vent Shade Field Standings Update. Brought to you by Auto Vent Shade, the original vent visor, the most practical accessory for your truck. They started to spill in that rear view mirror, isn't it?
Well, you can see everybody moving around right now. Lonnie Rush there in the back truck there, that I guess you'd call that teal and blue right there. He's really quick, but he can't. Track position is so important here, Larry.
Just you can catch these guys. There you see Kevin Harvick moving to the inside of Jay Sauter off turn 3. Don't believe he's going to make the pass. Oh, there he goes. No, Jay beats him down in the corner, and he has to fall back in line.
Saved you.
See right there.
I hear you.
What he can't do in the 3 truck right now, Jay Sauter cannot pick the throttle up because he's fighting some kind of handling condition, and you can see Harvick all over him in the center part of the corner where you pick the throttle up.
That's his Milwaukee truck and the Milwaukee power plant. Brian Reffner's gone to the garage. Engine failure, the reason that he is done for the day. Again, riding with Mike Bliss, looking back towards Sauter, Harvick, Rush. Scott Walters next in line in 15th spot. Then Bob Keselowski running in 16th. You see the full rundown across the top of the screen.
Looks like the 3 truck gets down in the corner good, but right there, just when it goes to get back to the gas, he can't get back to it. But once he gets up on the straightaway, he holds his own.
That's for 12th.
I hope he knows he's there now, because that is the preferred line right around the bottom. I'd say Jay Sauter's in big trouble. Whoa! They both got loose then.
Yep, they both got loose. And meanwhile, Andy Houston swings to the inside of Barfield. And here comes Corelli to grab second if he can get there.
This is the best run that I've watched Corelli since last year, and when he was running in Las Vegas. It looked like he had to race one there, run out of fuel right near the end of the race.
They go around some of the lapped machines as you see Spraker come down pit road. The leader is Houston.
Ron Barfield got a rearview mirror full of the 19 truck there. Tony Raines now as well.
Saw Tommy Houston here this week, the race leader's dad, long-time NASCAR Busch Series standout. Barfield and Raines. Here goes Harvick. He'll finally make the clean move around Sauter to grab 12th. So the 75 truck moves up to 12th. Sauter is now back to 13th.
Harvick's starting to run down the 2 truck of Mike Bliss right there.
Up front, meanwhile, there you see the spread from Houston back to Corelli. Andy Houston is driving the truck he calls canned heat. I believe it's the case. It was so hot at the flat track at Homestead and at Phoenix and at Milwaukee. So I'm just going to call this one canned heat.
This type of racetrack has definitely seemed to suit his style. It really has a flat, long straightaways, long sweeping corners.
Well, Rick Wren, ever since he started with Andy Houston, has just done a great job with the influence also of Tommy Houston, the father there. He kind of oversees everything, but Rick Wren has total control of what's done on that truck. He says it's such a pleasure to work close to home, not have to travel so far to work on trucks. He was Rick Corelli's crew chief last year.
Right, Corelli from Denver, Colorado. 70 laps to go. Houston leads Corelli. The man we're riding with, Bob Keselowski, still on the lead lap in 15th. NASCAR scoring, all the latest NASCAR news, anything about America's most popular sport. Check out NASCAR online before, during, or after the races at that computer address, www.nascar.com. It is your 24-hour NASCAR Garage Pass. We are live at New Hampshire International Speedway. Andy Houston, the leader. Rick Corelli, second. Ron Barfield, third. Tony Raines, fourth. Add all their ages together, and you equal the man in fifth, Joe Ruttman. Just kidding, Joe. Joe was ragging on himself yesterday. He said, yeah, I'll take on all of these rookies, and I'll tell you, he's running awfully quick right now.
That last shot off turn 2 over there tells you why Barfield's dropping back. He polished the wall over there coming off turn 2, got the right rear right up against the wall, very loose getting out of the corner.
They all work their way slowly around the Rick McRae truck, number 42.
Hornaday looked like he wanted to take a shot at Biffle, but had to fall back in line because of the lap truck. Hornaday's truck, look at it, really going through the center of the corner right there.
He's running in 7th right now. You realize it was a year to this date, to this race, that Fred Graves came on board as the crew chief for that team. His first race was this one in New Hampshire a year ago.
Well, Rock of Gibraltar, and I tell you, having a lot of experience up here in the Northeast with his modified himself, Fred Graves brought something to that team they really needed, a lot of stability.
Again, when the day began, Sprague was leading Hornaday by 32 points. It's now 28. Ruttman was third, 80 points down. It's now 67. By the way, Jack Sprague is running way back right now. He is in 8th, and he is 7 seconds behind 7th place. So he is just right there with Mike Wallace and Hensley and the others. Good scramble there.
Eli, just what we were talking about. Barfield started off the corner, couldn't get back in the throttle. Here comes Tony Raines in the 19, and just behind him, big trouble. Joe Ruttman's running this group down.
And Greg Biffle there, along with Ron Hornaday. NASCAR timing and scoring presented by MCI. Let's see exactly where your favorites are running right now. We're at lap 140 of 200. Now remember, let's not forget that you've got pit stops to factor in here yet. If we stay under green, at lap 104, Stacy Compton pitted. So did Anderson. So did Barry Bodine. Those are the 3 trucks on the lead lap to stop. Everybody else says Ruttman leaves a calling card on Barfield.
Use that chrome horn. We don't have horns on it. The only way you can get somebody's attention is just give them enough touch to let them know I'm here. As you see him go right by, I think right now Ron Barfield realizes the best thing for him to do is get out of Dodge and let these guys have the lower part of the racetrack.
And remember, too, Stacy Compton, when he made a stop, he's now worked all the way back up to 15th position. So he's running fairly well. He made that stop back in lap 104. So the storylines are unfolding, but the biggest one yet to come. Late race pit stops before it's all over here in New Hampshire. We are back with you here at New Hampshire International Speedway. Here comes the 00 who was spun moments ago, Ryan McGlynn. We remain under green, however. We have seen pit stops in the last few moments for Ron Barfield and for the 2 of Mike Bliss. Houston is still the leader, but he hasn't had the lead all along while you were away. Corelli took the lead. Houston took it back. Now here at lap 148, they're going to try and swap it around again.
Well, these guys are going at it like it's the last lap. The white flag has not come out, but what it's done is allowed Tony Raines there in 3rd place to close right in and make this a real tight truck race. And just behind this group right here, Joe Ruttman.
Yep. Remember, Corelli in the 6 truck only has 1 win in the series. Ran and won it in June in Bristol back in 1996 as Raines will force Corelli out of the way.
We're seeing this a lot. It's like these trucks are getting each other bad loose up off the corner. When you get behind them, there you see Tony Raines getting by Rick Corelli, Joe Ruttman sticking his nose up there. But that's what happened a while ago when we had a double lead swap. Corelli got Andy Houston's truck loose, got by him, and then Andy's truck, I guess, drove pretty good, and he got back by him.
You know, one thing we have to remember is the first 3 trucks right there, they're on very, very old tires right now. Joe Ruttman, on the other hand, in 4th there, has fresher tires, and you can tell it in the corner. He runs almost a half a truck lower through the center part of the corner, and the truck's there on old tires.
50 laps to go. Tony Raines running in 2nd. He was 2nd at Pikes Peak and 4th on Thursday in Indianapolis.
The real tough scenario here, we saw Barfield and Bliss in the pits for under a green flag stop, where they've got to be on pins and needles, is hoping all the other leaders pit should we get a caution flag, because if a caution comes right now, they're going to be at least a lap down.
There you see the rundown, brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. At Napa, we keep America running.
Eli, we're getting into some lap traffic right now. One thing Andy Houston does not have is a lot of experience leading on this racetrack. And as I speak, Rick Corelli's headed down pit road.
So the High Plains Drifter is going to come on in while we stay out on the racetrack. But here comes Corelli. Lap 152. He'll make his stop. Let's go to Matt Yoakum.
George Church and Company going over the wall. This is going to be some pit strategy. They're just going to do a gas and go. They're holding him now. He's down and away. I don't think they got enough fuel in. One of the crew members was trying to get him to stop.
It looked that way too. It was not well executed. Here come the leaders. Andy Houston going around Rick McRae's truck. That poor 42 team, McRae, when they were coming here, the straps inside the big transporter came loose and the truck started bouncing around. They unloaded the truck here and had all sorts of damage all over it. It was clean when they put it in, and then they lost their crew chief this week. They had a big change in the team. He shows up, he said, they got no crew chief, and I load a nice looking truck in, and it gets here, and all of a sudden it's all beaten up.
Eli, that happened to me one time going to Daytona with one of my cars, and I went in my truck to get a car out, and I said, they must have changed cars on the way down here. This thing's been turned over.
Riding with Boris Said now as he gets bypassed by Butch Miller. Miller is back. He is 41 laps down, but Butch is back on the racetrack. Here goes Hornaday. He's in 5th, working by Boris Said.
Saw Hornaday, I believe, put his hand up. Evidently, Boris motioned him where he wanted him to go by, and Hornaday like give him a thank you. I appreciate you not running me right here.
Yeah, that happens. Yeah, it's
and
a
that
give
wasn't
and take.
for position either.
It's a give and take sport. You can see Boris Said right now having all kinds of handling problems, keeping the truck down there. He's 1 lap down right now, but he's having a problem with handling right now. So why hold up a guy that's got a chance to maybe win the race?
Meanwhile, there's Andy Houston continuing to show the lead. Corelli ahead of him has made a pit stop. Rick Crawford is in now, making his stop at lap 156. We'll keep a track of all of those. Barry Bodine now going a lap down. There you see Crawford. And he's going to get right side rubber and fuel. There goes 17th place runner, the number 7 truck, Barry Bodine, going a lap down. He's had a good run here today.
Andy Houston's showing a lot of maturity, even though he's a very young driver there going through lap traffic. We're really doing a nice job today.
And pit stops are going to have to be made before this one is over. And with the chance of sounding repetitive, remember, if you're used to watching this series, they no longer have that halftime break at a racetrack that has a full complement of pit stalls like we have here at New Hampshire. So they are pitting on the fly as they go, just like their brothers in the NASCAR Winston Cup and NASCAR Busch Series and all the other touring series.
Tony Raines in the 19 there, the 99 of Joe Ruttman, Greg Biffle, all of them running for position right here. Ruttman looks to the inside. Tony Raines gets a great drive off the corner. Both of them in Fords down through the back straightaway there.
Battle for second place.
Lap 158 on the board. 200 make up the distance. Andy Houston continues to lead on TNN Motorsports. Here comes Tony Raines as pit stops are now the name of the game. Lap 161. Raines comes in.
You're clear.
He has an easy run down the pit road, which is totally empty right now. And whereas Corelli's team made problems in their fuel fill, looks as though Raines is going to have a good stop here.
No tires, as you can see, just taking on fuel and right back out.
They're
And
only
here
having to
comes
put one
Andy
can of fuel in it.
Houston. Here comes Andy Houston. It'll give Greg Biffle the race lead now. Andy Houston is in lap 163. He'll come into the attention of Rick Wren and the crew. Matt Yoakum.
Rick Wren and the guys dance across the wall. Andy had to pull it into his truck with a little bit loose. It's no wonder he has over 100 laps on the right side tires. He has stalled the truck. Remember, from T&L engine spring eager to the vent opening at the front. He's been in the motor, and he's down and away.
So there's the stop, 14.6 for Andy Houston's team. Lap 163, Greg Biffle takes the lead at 164. Biffle battling for Rookie of the Year honors. Finished 4th at Milwaukee. Other teams stopping now. Jimmy Hensley is in. Kevin Sawinski is in. There's the Kings driver. Scott Walters is in, lap 164.
For those of you who are just watching racing for the first time, the king is Richard Petty. That's who
Indeed
that
so.
owns this team.
Most of these teams taking right side tires, and I got to believe that that's the right thing to do with 35, 40 laps to go. That's asking a lot, taking fuel only for those tires to go that amount of distance. I almost believe with that many laps to go, you're going to be in there about 7, 8, 9 seconds getting fuel only. Maybe spend that extra 2 or 3 seconds getting those fresh right side tires. I believe that will prevail if this thing should stay green.
Watch what happened to Andy Houston when he came down pit road a little while ago. Watch this little slide here.
Wait, oh, he's on the brakes hard right there, trying to get the truck slow enough to come down pit road.
45 miles an hour pit road speed here in New Hampshire.
But he's doing what he's supposed to do. He's not giving up any speed at all. He got to the entrance of pit road. That's important under green flag stops.
He's running in 16th now. The leader is the 50 truck, Greg Biffle. He has 3 top 5s, 5 top 10 finishes this year. This is the 5th race he has led in 1998.
See Rick Corelli getting really loose right there. Again, took that fuel only, and he's got his hands full right now. He's fixing to go a lap down should Biffle get by him. Right now he's at the tail end of the lead lap.
And again, it sounds, Glenn, from what we were able to tell, that Corelli just did not get enough fuel in his truck.
Oh, no, I agree, Matt. Matt assured us that they did not. But, you know, Larry, when you talk about that fuel-only stop, the guy we got to gauge it by is Tony Raines, number 9. We got a truck in the wall down here, number 42, but he keeps going, so no caution. But we got to look at Tony Raines. Now, he was running like second when he pitted and took on fuel only. Andy Houston was running first when he pitted and took on tires and fuel. Look at the difference between where Raines is on the racetrack and where Houston is on the racetrack. Those are the 2 guys we got to gauge it by. Right now, Tony Raines has a full straightaway lead over Andy Houston. if he don't get a caution, I don't know if he's going to have enough time to catch it.
That's a good point. You know, again, it's going to be a lot how they catch lap traffic. You know, lap traffic can knock 3/4 of a second out of you. So, I mean, you're right. We're sitting here with 32 laps to go. There may not be enough laps to catch that truck that just took fuel only.
Riding with Butch Miller now. Again, he's some 41 laps down, as you see in 30th. Right behind Corelli, who's just gone that lap down to Biffle.
Yeah, but look at Hornaday. He's off the pace just a little bit. You can see Corelli really close in on Hornaday. He's having a little bit of problem right now with the back of the truck.
Bob Keselowski makes his pit stop now for fuel. We're at lap 169. There he is. Right side tires on that Mopar truck. Problems at the right front. Problems at the right front for Keselowski's team. He came in 14th, and that's costly.
Eli, when you don't do pit stops like these guys, I mean, this is only the second race or third race that they've had where they really have pit stops. You're going to see little problems like that. The main thing, they're learning for the future, so it's very important that they have these pit stops just like that. It also gets the drivers, when they do move up into another division, they're prepared when they make a pit stop.
Well, you know, we've talked about it so much. This series is preparing drivers possibly for Winston Cup. With them changing the format, these guys having to change tires and jack, man, it's preparing crew members for the future of Winston Cup as well.
Everybody waiting and watching as the time winds down. Hornaday is running in third right now. The two trucks just ahead of him, Biffle and Ruttman, there they are, first and second. And here comes Jack Sprague. Jack is in lap 171. He'll be coming in for at least fuel, running in 8th place. Here's Lonnie Rush following him down the pit lane. He's in for service as well. Glenn Jarrett.
Jack Sprague brings the GMAC Chevy in, Eli. It will be a right side tire change also. Plus, they're going to make an adjustment to the truck, I believe. Jack's been complaining about the truck. Very, very tight. Yeah, there they go right now, making a wedge adjustment on the truck, taking some bite out of the thing. Right side still up, and they're down and away, so he's good to go for the rest of the way.
Well executed pit stop right there for Jack Sprague. And he got the word the leader is coming off of turn number 4. There he is, the leader, Greg Biffle.
You know, I was watching Ron Hornaday just behind these two guys here. He was in lap traffic a while ago when he got sideways. That truck's running very well now for the people at home that pull for Ron Hornaday on a weekly basis. He's back up to speed pretty well now.
You know, I don't think Jack Sprague and his crew had much of a choice on changing those right sides, because the last 2 stops, I think they had actually opted to change left, so they had a lot of laps on their right side tires.
Ron Hornaday now slows. Here he comes. Jay Sauter is in as well. Lap 174. Sauter, they go to the right side. Hornaday will be going by as well. He'll be taking a stop here under the watchful eye of Fred Graves. And Matt, right side's there.
Hornaday has relayed the crew chief Fred Graves. The truck is loose and checking the tires. They're putting fuel, and he was thinking about just doing a gasoline stop, and he is down and away.
I think what we saw there, guys, was a miscue. I don't think the front tire changer knew it was going to be fuel only.
Boy, we saw a right front tire changer go out there, and that was it.
Yeah, but that's a great part of having radio communications. They hollered to the right front guy and said, get back over here, and he went right back across, so no harm.
And he did get the lug nuts put back on that he took off. That could have been the real costly situation right there.
So now Biffle. Everybody waiting and watching. Here comes Kevin Harvick down pit road. He's in at lap 175. Mike Wallace, our pole sitter, he comes in. And he was too quick coming down pit road. It'll be a 15-second penalty for Mike Wallace. It'll be a hold. You see the official coming in front of the truck right there. They'll hold him, Glenn, for 15 seconds.
Yeah, it came in a little too hot. They're going to do a right side change with fuel, but that's not their problems. They got all that done in way less than 15 seconds. But he's got to wait. You see the official hold the hand up right there. Nothing you can do but sit there, wait, and fume a little.
And that 15-second count starts when the truck is finished being serviced.
That's the sad part about it. They had to get fuel in, and you saw he did not hold his hand up till they was done with the work on the truck. That's what really hurts.
Heartbreak right there for Mike Wallace, too fast coming down pit road. Greg Biffle Still showing the way.
People in Portland, Oregon have to be standing up cheering right now. This guy has raced 1,000,000 miles out there, and I tell you what, he's doing a grand job today of keeping that truck right where it ought to be, and that's in front.
He finished 7th at Pikes, California, finished 7th at Indianapolis Raceway Park. So that rookie team has really been coming on. Rookie driver Greg Biffle. We're at lap 178. He and Ruttman, and now Stacy Compton is up to 3rd. Remember, Stacy pitted early at lap 104, and here comes Biffle. He and Terry Cook are both coming down pit road, and so is Joe Ruttman. Joe Ruttman comes in as well. These were expected stops, lap 179. It'll be 180 right there as Biffle records another lap going across the start-finish line on pit road. So he's in at 180 along with Ruttman, and that gives the lead to Compton. Glenn Jarrett.
And they were motioning for Greg Biffle to pull way over to give Ruttman plenty of room. It will be fuel only for both teams. Ruttman is already away. Ruttman stalls the truck. Now Biffle is down. Ruttman still has not refired. Biffle turns it sideways, getting out of here, and beats his teammate out. Oh, Joe Ruttman had him beat plenty of time, but he stalled the truck.
My goodness, how one's fortunes can change. And now we're 20 laps from the finish, and the 86 is the leader. We said it might just pay off making that stop at lap 104. The RC machine is showing the way right now. We're back to wrap it up from New Hampshire. Compton looking for his 2nd win of the year. We'll talk about it when we come back. The race leader, as everything has cycled back around now during pit stops. Moments ago, we saw the stop made by Stacy Compton. And there it is as it unfolded back at lap 181.
Yep, he's coming in to get his fuel, as you can see, just taking on fuel. They did not jack the truck up. About a 7-second stop.
He didn't need much fuel at all just to go those last 15 laps, but I really missed it on that, buddy. I thought he could go the distance.
Meanwhile, Rick Corelli is back in for fuel and right side tires. There you see him leaving the pits. Wayne Anderson has also been back on pit road, but Greg Biffle has taken the lead again here in New Hampshire, 15 laps away from posting a victory for a rookie, a Cintas rookie, here on the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. And it's a comfortable lead.
I'm looking at the truck, and I tell you, he's just smoothing it around right now, taking it very easy on the tires, maybe diamonding the corners just a little bit, not putting a whole lot of pressure because nobody's putting any pressure on him. He has about a half a straightaway lead right now over Ruttman.
Yeah, he has about a 2 or 3 second lead. The biggest thing that could come into play, though, is lap trucks. That's what can really hurt you right here.
Interesting track fact there. That, of course, would change here today with Biffle picking up a victory should he hang on to do so. He'd be the first rookie since Randy Tolsma here on TNN a year ago in Bakersfield, California, to post a victory. Here's a good scramble for 3rd spot now. 60, Andy Houston wants it. Tony Raines in the 19 has it. That's for 3rd and 4th.
Look at Houston get that great drive out of the corner. Forward bite galore down the straightaway. He made it look very easy. Tony Raines did not get off the corner very well there.
Houston's tires only 2 laps newer than Raines, so it wasn't really the factor there. Just a better handling and better working truck at this stage of the afternoon. 12 laps from the finish.
You know, guys, I think with 12 laps to go, I think we got to mention this, you know, and I'm sure this was the whole goal about changing the format of truck racing. I mean, this has made a total different race out of this. Otherwise, we'd have seen a halftime break, everybody come in, make adjustments, change tires, run 100 more. But it's like pit strategy, tire strategy, fuel strategy. It's made a great race
really
out of it.
And they had 17 lead changes at Pikes Peak. They had 11 at Indianapolis Raceway Park, which again is probably traceable to the pit stops. We've had 14 lead changes among 8 different drivers here today.
Clear all around.
That's the spotter for Mike Bliss, telling him he's clear all around. Tony Raines has lost the handle just a little bit here in the later stages of this race. That's he in the black and yellow truck there, number 19.
Bliss running in 16th spot. Butch Miller's day is done. Fuel pump. You heard Barry Dotson talking to Eddie Thrapp from the pits up to the spotter stand. There's Ron Hornaday. He's running in 6th right now. Sprague, by the way, is running in 9th, and the two fellas in that feud have really been pretty clean. Haven't really been near each other much of the day, Matt.
Eli, Ron Hornaday is beginning to fade a little bit. He reported to crew chief Fred Graves. He thinks he may have a rear end going away. Fred said, look, think of the big picture. The points, just try to nurse it home.
So that's what he will try and do, as both Boris Said and Stacy Compton close in.
Eli, for the people back home, when you're talking about a gear going out, what happens, it starts to burn up and get pit holes in the gear itself. It starts to vibrate and smell very high. So he knows he has a problem right now. He's trying to nurse it home.
Harry Bodine makes a pit stop at lap 192. He had pitted on 104 along with Compton. Interesting, he was able to go, what, 11 laps further than Compton, but still couldn't make it to the finish.
You know, sometimes once everybody else is pitted, sometimes the best thing you can do, if you know you can't make it to the end, look at this battle here.
That's a good one. Again, you've got Hornaday ahead of Compton, ahead of Hensley. That is for position. That's 6th, 7th, and 8th, and here comes Compton.
Well, Hornaday out there with the gear going out. He's just trying to make it to the finish right now. He won't be much of a contest for these guys to get by. As I say that, he runs in the back of Compton.
Compton a little shot there.
Yeah, just for good measure.
Another one looking.
It'll be 5 to go next time by.
Hensley down on the bottom, just below the yellow line, pulls even. You see Hornaday as he gets back in the throttle, though, he's just not up to speed. And just behind him, who do you think's coming? His nemesis of all times?
Yep, Jack Sprague.
Just when we said they hadn't been together today.
That's right. All of a sudden, they get together here. If anybody says anything, we've got the radios to listen to.
And a 3-second gagger.
Kevin Harvick, this is a battle for 8th, 9th, and 10th right here. Sprague clears Hornaday. There you see Kevin Harvick pulling to the inside. Hornaday just really got his hands full right now.
Oh.
And of course, every single set of eyeballs in this whole racetrack staring at those two trucks right now. But they go about their business very cleanly there. Coming up on 4 to go next time by for the leader, Greg Biffle. There's Andy Houston. He's running 2nd. And he's still, right now, a goodly distance back, about 8/10 of a second behind the race leader. There you see the spread.
Jack Roush has great race cars in Winston Cup. He's got great trucks in this race here today. 1st and 3rd right now. You know what? Andy Houston's really coming on.
Yes,
Holy cow, a couple of rookies here. Oh, and Biffle about bobbled into the wall there. How about this for a finish? They're battling for the lead in the Cintas Rookie of the Year, and all of a sudden they're scrambling for the win here in New Hampshire.
Two young Turks going at it. You can see a little contact there as they head off turn 2. Andy Houston driving his heart out.
He's come from nowhere after the pit stop.
It'll be 2 to go when they get back.
Right, can he try him to the outside?
That's
no.
Hero material when you dive out. Now he's under him. They make a little contact. Biffle fights back coming off turn 4.
What a great finish we've got going. Biffle and Houston, 2 laps to go.
I think Andy Houston caught us all by surprise.
Yeah.
He kind of showed up out of nowhere.
He made that hard run right now. He's cooled his tires. Do you think he has enough?
I don't know. That last little episode in turn 4, he lost a lot of ground there, but he's got about a lap and a half to try to get it back. As they come back off of turn 3 and 4 this time, we'll get a white flag.
It's down to a half a truck length as they head down off turn 4, Eli.
Houston's tires are 17 laps.
Oh,
Biffle's
Biffle
in the wall. Biffle is in the wall. White flag. Whoever gets around is going to win it. Biffle ahead of Houston. This is for the win.
Here
in
comes
turn 1.
Here comes Houston. They make contact coming off turn 2. They pull even.
Rutland is running 3rd. Remember, if these two guys crash each
Look
other
at
out,
him. They just beating and banging all the way down the back straightaway into turn 3. Biffle has the advantage there.
Get the photo finish.
Oh,
ready.
he
Biffle
gets him
busted
loose.
out of the way. Houston takes the low side. Andy Houston is going to grab a win here. Andy Houston
What
wins
a lap.
in New Hampshire. Oh, my. Rick Wren, Tommy Houston, the whole crew. He started 8th and picks up his first win in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. won his first race just exactly like that in Texas. Andy Houston drove his heart out today. Congratulations.
Look at these guys. Are they not happy? Look at them.
Glenn, how about that?
Oh, man, well, this was totally unbelievable. We're getting showered with everything down here. Rick Wren, what an unbelievable comeback.
Hey, I'm going to tell you what, we started off the race with a sour note. They had plug wires crossed. Man, you just can't give up. I'll tell you what, Andy Houston can flat dig. We gave him a good race car, and he never gave up. We just kept telling him to dig and take it easy on the brakes and save fuel. What a win from the back, huh? What a win.
I got a great idea. Let's go to victory lane.
All right, let's go.
What a finish.
And smoke, too.
And the Donut Man turns a few donuts. What a finish. Plastic Coat Winning Finish Award going to that entire crew, Rick Wren and the fellas. Plastic Coat, the official spray paint of NASCAR, proud to sponsor the Winning Finish Award presented to Rick Wren today. And they will get $1,000 as the highest finishing Craftsman Truck Series team participating in the Plastic Coat Award program. And don't forget, at the end of the year, the crew chief with the best average finish will win $10,000. Our congratulations to Rick Wren, Andy Houston, and that whole Addington Racing team heading to Victory Lane. He didn't know where it was. He's now trying to find Victory Lane. He has stopped here. There's Greg Biffle talking with the crew from the NASCAR Truck Network on radio. And meanwhile, Andy Houston still can't find Victory Lane. He stopped at the start-finish line. They said, tell him it's back behind the pits in the middle of the racetrack. So now he's looking for Victory Lane again.
He might not can't find it, but he's enjoying every minute of it right now.
He led 3 times today, Andy Houston did, for 56 laps.
Eli, look at that paint job. You think it's in the contact sport? There's rubber down the whole right side. The left side looked like a dog bit it in the door. I mean,
Let's watch this last lap again, guys. Have we seen better finishes than this? I don't know. Coming to the white right here. That's where Biffle banged into the wall.
Yeah, he takes the line away from Houston down into turn 1. Houston kind of sets him up right there, gets a good run on the inside, tries to close in on the 50. They pull side by side off turn 2.
Just watch this. This was for the win. Again, it's worthy of a second look.
He gets advantage back into turn 3. Houston gets into him right there. That's racing on the white flag lap right there. There's nothing wrong with that. Off turn 4 to take the win, Eli.
He finished second at Texas. And Glenn Jarrett, he's one-upped himself here today.
And he's crawling out of here. I'll tell you what, folks, everybody down here is going crazy. The whole family, his parents, Tommy and Martha Houston, his wife, Valerie, back here. Hey, buddy, get out here. Let me get a little hug from the wife. That's Valerie. Now, just another day at the racetrack, huh?
Well, not really. We started off there and we had a plug wire off on the start, and I'll tell you what, this Chevrolet was like a rock today. It come on up through the field, and just so many people I got to thank. Mike Anton, he gave me the opportunity to win this race. Mike, get up here, buddy. Come on, come on. He gave me the opportunity to get in this deal, and I tell you what, he stood behind us, gave us everything we need, and just everybody that's helped us out is tremendous.
Rick made a great call there at the end. You had to have right side tires. You had 100 laps on them. But did you think that you could catch them? You were a full straightaway behind those guys.
I honestly didn't think I could catch him, and I didn't think I could catch him. And when Mike Wallace passed Biffle there, I thought that was for the lead. I thought me and him were racing for second and come around, and my number was on the board. And just can't ask for a better day. Good Lord looked after us, and I got to say hey to my little boy. He's at home, didn't make his trip, but he'll be with us next week.
Hey, Andy, we got to leave you right now. Congratulations. Great job. Good work, man. Here's Matt Yoakum.
Well, Greg Biffle, he can still crack a smile. Heck of a finish, a great last lap.
Yeah, it was. You know, the problem was I didn't know Houston was on the lead lap, and I saw him in the mirror back there, and I thought the whole time Joe Ruttman was the second-place car back. But, you know, the crew did such a great job. The Granger F-150 ran perfect today. We were good in the pits, you know, and we added a spring rubber at that halfway breaker on the pit stop and didn't even lose any position. So, you guys just did an awesome job today, and I just feel good for Granger and Roush and everybody to just give us a second-place finish today, and the guys deserve it. They've been working hard, and that last lap I tried to keep Andy Houston behind me, and he gave me a little bump down there in the corner, paid me back a little bit, but I don't know if there's contact or not. But that's racing, and I'll tell you what, if we had to do it over again, I'd do the same thing, you know. He's a good guy to race with, and I feel comfortable racing with him, and I'm just happy for him. You know, if it wasn't me, it's him. So we were first and second in practice times today, or yesterday, so I thought we'd be up front at the end.
Well, Greg Biffle scores a second place, his best career finish in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
And he has been voted the Mopar High Performer of the event. Mopar Chrysler Corporation Parts and the Chrysler Plymouth Dodge Jeep and Eagle dealers who sell and install them, honoring Greg Biffle as their Mopar High Performer of the day. But it is Andy Houston, who has won 31 times at the Hickory Speedway, has now won in New Hampshire. Boy, what a finish. What a finish here in New Hampshire. Couple of rookies ahead of a veteran and another youngster, Ron Barfield. Solid runs all the way there. Jay Sauter backslid to 11th finally, and Mike Wallace 14th.
You know, the big thing, again, 2 rookies battling like that just for those last 2 laps, beating and banging, but yet, I mean, racing each other clean as you expect them to on the white flag lap, and you got to give a call to that crew, getting that plug wire back on there early and getting him back in contention to win.
Eli, what we have now is just what they have in the Busch Grand National Division. You have these young guys that are really making themselves known right now, and this is good for the sport. I'm glad to see Andy Houston Biffle do such a great job today.
Here's a super run for him, super run for Houston. Everywhere you look, some solid performances. As for Hornaday and Sprague, they kept their distance and both came out with good finishes. Welcome back, everybody, as everyone just looks on after Andy Houston came flying back to take the win over Greg Biffle in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race here in New Hampshire. Now the Auto Week racing schedule. Next stop for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, the Squared Racetrack in Flemington, New Jersey, then Nashville, then Heartland Park, Topeka. So we go from today's super speedway to a short couple of tracks and a road course. And of course, later this year, you see the TNN dates as well for our coverage here on the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. And for information like that and a lot more, why not call 1-800-232-1522. Call them now for a 52-week subscription to Auto Week at the special TV price of just $19.95. Every week, Auto Week is the first with all the inside news of racing, personalities, driving impressions, everything. Call now for Auto Week, 1-800-232-1522. Don't delay. This offer is limited. We're coming right back with more to wrap it up from New Hampshire as the Victory Lane ceremonies continue. Andy Houston is a first-time winner. We're back in a moment. Welcome back, everybody. New Hampshire International Speedway under the flags of Canada and the United States. So many of our neighbors from the north make their way down to the Granite State to enjoy NASCAR racing. Joe Ruttman thought he might be a bigger factor down the stretch. Came home third, not a bad run, but for part of the day, guys, he was clearly the quickest truck on the racetrack.
I think track position had so much to do with what happened to Joe Ruttman today. He lost a little bit on a pit stop. You see the truck there. It's very unusual to run the race that he ran, not a scratch on the right side.
Let's take a look at how the point standings look now. That's how it's all finally come to a close on the day. 40 points spread between first and second. 57 back, and then, of course, a goodly distance to Rains and Compton. But remember, the day began with a spread of 32 points. So actually, Jack Sprague ends up picking up 8 points on Ron Hornaday, and Joe Ruttman was 80 points down. So that has closed up just a tad. But good, solid race, and I'm looking forward to heading to Flemington next weekend to see the NASCAR Craftsman trucks yet again.
We can't talk you into going with us,
Oh,
Larry.
I'd love to. I'll be in Topeka, though, in about 3 weeks, so I'll look forward to the road course race there.
I think anybody that watched today realizes that there's a big future in NASCAR for the truck division. I enjoyed it. I think it's one of the most competitive races I've called all year long.
This really was one thing we talk all the time about. Where's the next generation of racer coming from?
They could start here.
They could start right here.
Exactly right.
All these fellows who have come up. Biffle through the NASCAR Featherlight Southwest Tour was where he made his name originally, and so on. Lots going on as far as racing. A lot of youngsters going on, and you'll be talking and hearing more about them as the years continue. Larry Mack, always a pleasure. We'll see you in Topeka in just a few weeks' time, and go out there and do some more good work on the NASCAR Winston Cup Series.
Looking forward to it. Always a pleasure to be with you guys, especially calling a race like we had today.
Win one before we get back together.
Now, we'll have a lot of fun if we do that.
And, Buddy, we'll be seeing you in Flemington, one of the tougher little short tracks in this country.
I guarantee you, you'll find out who can drive a race truck next weekend. It's a great race. I really enjoyed today. Can't wait till next week.
Andy Houston right there takes the win over Greg Biffle. Joe Ruttman will finish third. Ron Barfield fourth. Tony Raines came home fifth. Jimmy Hensley was sixth. Devin Harvick seventh. Jack Sprague was eighth. Stacy Compton ninth. And Ron Hornaday 10th. But a lot of happy fellas there as Andy Houston picks up his first victory and leaves his mark on the asphalt here at the New Hampshire International Speedway. For Buddy Baker and Larry McReynolds, for Glenn Jarrett and Matt Yoakum, I'm Eli Gold. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next weekend in Flemington. But today, the honors go to Andy Houston, the winner in New Hampshire. So long, everyone.